What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more on the HermitPack. So today we're finally going to be taking care of a fairly large problem that was very recently brought to my attention. So if we look outside right now, it's nighttime, and this usually isn't a very big problem. We're inside a fairly well lit base right now, and really stuff doesn't spawn around us due to the relocator obelisk. So it's perfectly fine to leave at nighttime and just go on with doing work and really not care. Well, unfortunately that's not true for me right now, because if we come over here to pretty much the overall power storage, you can see that we are going at between minus 1000 and minus roughly 3000 RF per tick, depending on what machines are running. Now, once we start upgrading stuff, this will increase drastically, whether we're, upgrading the void ore miner, void resource miner, adding in new machines, all of that stuff, which I plan on doing very soon, which means we will not be able to leave at nighttime at all. And as it stands, I already have to sleep most of the time so that this full buffer does not get depleted. And unfortunately, this is only 150 million RF, which is actually very, very small if you think of the other power storage options that are offered in modded Minecraft. So it was suggested to me that I look into the mod Quantum Flux. So I've messed around with this mod a little bit in the past, but I haven't really done much with it recently. But I was actually excited that someone brought it to my attention because it's going to help us a lot today. So right here is the main thing we are going to be using. It's called the Quibit cluster level 5. So you can start out at a Quibit cluster level 1, very, very cheap to make. This stuff looks a little bit weird because it is Quantum Flux stuff, but if you click on this, you can see that it's really cheap to make. Obviously, early game, this wouldn't be very cheap, but we've got a fair bit of diamonds, a lot of nether quartz, and the ender crystals are, again, very easy to make. So we can make this fairly fast. A gold casing, again, very, very simple to make. So yes, it will be a lot of these to get all the way up to tier 5. You can see the recipe here. Just kind of builds upon itself until you get to the level 5 one. But the level 5 one, if I'm correct, can store 312.5 million RF in a single block. And if you really think about that compared to what we have now, that is double the current buffer that we're going to have, over double actually, a little bit over double, in a single block instead, where it would be roughly 12 to 13 for this. If you really want to get it, it'd be like 12 and a half to reach that level of these vibrant capacitor banks combined. So definitely not worth it to continue upgrading these, but I think it's worth it to invest in this. Then after we do that, I'd like to mess around with the RF Entangler. Now this really isn't a necessity, but I think it'll be pretty nice to mess around with. If you don't know what the RF Entangler does, it pretty much creates sort of like a wireless RF network that you can access from anywhere, interdimensionally, using RF exciters. And they're very simple to use. They don't really have anything. They're not like a dimensional transceiver, which we are currently using. You don't have to click on them and set, input, output. It's just the RF Entangler is where you put your RF in, and then it gets dispersed to any of the RF exciters that might need it. So you just hook these up to any machine, and they give off 100 RF per tick, plus 100 RF per tick for every exciter upgrade. They're very, very cheap to make, which is why I'd prefer to use these over using the dimensional transceivers. If we take a look at the dimensional transceiver recipe, yes, it's very easy to make currently, considering I get a lot of Enderman heads from my farm, and really all this stuff is pretty cheap right now. But overall, it is much, much cheaper to make the RF exciters and just specialize the amount of RF per tick they're getting for whatever machine it needs to get put on. So let's say, we wanted to hook up the relocator obelisk over there. It uses, I want to say, a little bit below 1000 RF per tick. You throw on maybe 8 to 9 upgrades on that, and boom, you're done. You never have to touch it again, and it's a very cheap thing to set up. So I think it might look a little bit nicer, be a little bit easier to work with. That's not a huge upgrade, but I think the power upgrade here, the power storage, will be very, very nice. Now, of course, this over here is still messed up because Optifine, for some reason, does not want to work, and it just wants to make all the shaders, or whatever this would be called, look very weird just for the disk drives, but hopefully it doesn't bother you guys too much. There's not really a ton that I can do about it. We've got a lot going on in the base right now, and so unfortunately I do need to run Optifine. But first things first, we can look into making let's go back to the Quantum Flux. We can look into making the Quibit clusters. So if we do a little bit of math right now, we can make things a lot easier on ourselves. So if we look, we want one Quibit cluster tier 5. which means we need 4 qubit clusters tier 4, which means we need 16 qubit clusters tier 3, which means we need 64 qubit clusters tier 2, which means we need 256 qubit clusters level 1, I think. If I'm not awful at math, that should be it. So that's a lot, which means we need to basically get this recipe 256 times. So if we go in, we can just start making all of this stuff very, very easily. So we'll just make a couple stacks of these because we would technically need 256 times 3. So it looks like we're running a little bit low on gold right now, unfortunately. So I may have to hop off camera and start dealing with all this, throw this stuff in there and see how much I can make. But for now, I think we should be okay on the current resources that we have. Okay guys, so we are back. Now I did do a fair bit of crafting off camera, but unfortunately I did run into a little bit of a roadblock when I ran out of resources, more specifically gold and diamonds, and those are kind of annoying to come by. Diamonds are pretty easy to get if you go in the nether, since they're right there on the surface and we have flight now, but unfortunately I didn't really feel like going mining for the gold, so my solution was just to AFK on here, do some schoolwork while I let the void ore miner just get a little bit for us so that we could continue. And I thought it would be a little bit more interesting if we kind of tied in the crafting to the refined storage system and did a little bit of automation for it. Since we've got the time, there's really no rush to do this. So I made a crafter and we should be able to easily hook it up right up here, since these are just simple recipes that would go in a regular crafting table. All we have to do is put it up there. You can see it's already plugged in and it should have all the necessary slots available for us to throw in a pattern or two, or however many we're going to need for this. So if we go and search up at Quantum Flux again, we can get all the recipes we need, and we don't even need the stuff to go in these recipes to be made, to just click it in there. So we can put the patterns right up here, and the first thing that we are going to need is a qubit cluster level 1, which means we need gold casing. So we need that right there, and we get a pattern for gold casing. Next one that we need is the qubit crystals, so we'll make a pattern for that. The last thing that we're going to need in terms of, I guess, generic patterns would be this ender crystal, so we'll make a pattern for that, and then we should have everything necessary to make a qubit cluster tier 1. So we'll make a pattern for the tier 1, we can make a pattern for the tier 2, pattern for tier 3, and it's actually occurring to me now that we need one for this amplification crystal, but other than that, it should not be too much of a problem. So we got tier 4, and then finally, we will have tier 5, and it looks like I'm going to need to make one more pattern. So let's see, if we come down here, pattern, and I think we're going to be low on the quartz enriched iron, so let's grab a little bit of that out there, and there we go. So we got one more pattern ready to go. And then this pattern is going to be this amplification crystal. Actually, we got to click the own recipe in there for that one. So let's go back to Quantum Flux. And it's going to be the amplification crystal. Now, this does require darkstone, which is from Quantum Flux. I have a fair bit of it, and I'll show you the recipe for that in 1 second. We actually probably want to make another one just for that darkstone too. Just because you'll see why in a little bit. We're going to use that for a lot of stuff today. So if we go, I have 166 right now, and it's for some reason not syncing the search. Yeah, so now it should be synchronized. There we go. So darkstone, the recipe for this is right here. You can see it's some cobblestone, some regular stone, and then you can pretty much use any black dye. I always use an ink sac though, so if we just wait until it rotates around, then I should be able to click the ink sac one in. Yep, there we go. And this is an empty pattern, so we will click that in right there. Now, everything should be ready to go. I don't even think all of these patterns are going to fit in here. Yeah, so we're one short. Luckily, we've got some room over there. And now all of the patterns should start appearing in here. Pretty much the reason that we only see a qubit cluster level 5 down here is because this is in the ascending order, which means that all of these are the ones that we don't have anything of. So we can click on this, and we want a qubit cluster tier 5. So it looks like we are missing, out of all the stuff that we're going to need in here, we are missing a little bit of nether quartz. So I guess I'm going to have to go get some of that, and then we will hop back on camera. Okay guys, so we are back yet again. I just finished gathering pretty much all the resources that we should need for this. It was a very long trip to the nether, and so I'm just going to pretty much dump out all the stuff in my inventory into here, and hopefully it will start auto crafting once we get enough of these in there. If we look up here at the crafting monitor, oh, it looks like we couldn't actually request it, but it looks like we should be able to go in here, and now we should be able to request it. Everything seems to be available. It is going to use a lot of resources, almost 300 diamonds, another like 560 gold, lots of iron. So it's a lot of stuff that needs to get crafted, but I think it should all be worth it in the end. So let's see, it should be crafting it now. Probably going to take a while since it needs to craft all of this. You can see it's slowly going through it in here. I actually find this very interesting to watch, and I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it the whole time. I do have some other stuff that I'd like to do while this is going, but I think it's pretty interesting to watch. And now it gets to go through pretty much the longest list is going to be the Quibit clusters level 1 and all of these different kind of very low tier quantum flux materials that need to be crafted. So we'll let that go. I never really understood the reason for putting speed upgrades in here until now. I believe that should be able to speed it up if we were to do that. I don't really care enough to do that, but I want to do a couple other things while we wait for that. So up here is the environmental tech solar panel. This has been doing great for some time now. It's been powering pretty much our whole base, and it's been, you know, during the daytime, it actually has a positive net gain of power in our base, you know, if the buffer is not completely full, and this is only a tier 2 solar panel. So I would like to upgrade this to a tier 3, and we should have all the necessary resources even after making that very expensive upgrade downstairs. I might be a little bit short, but I think we should be able to upgrade this. The biggest problem that we were running into before is we did not have mica, and that was the reason for creating the void resource miner. I'm pretty sure that's the only place to get mica, and that was really the only thing holding us back from upgrading it. We've got pretty much an endless supply of lapis coming into the base, and that was another thing that was limiting us initially. So I think what we're going to do right now, and I guess this is kind of difficult to do, is I was going to break this and kind of replace it, but we need this power to function. So I think, I don't know if 134 million RF will be enough. Let me look at how long this is going to take. So this is going pretty fast over here. If we pull out, we can go into the bag of goodies and pull out the digital guide for environmental tech. If we go to the solar arrays and we go to tier 3, you can see that it's going to get a lot more energy. It's going to take a 9x9, which is why it's going to cost a lot more in terms of structure blocks and mainly solar cells. And that's where the lapis comes into play. So I guess we can make the solar cells before we go and break anything. But the structure blocks will need to be broken just because those are going to get upgraded from the tier 2 to the tier 3. And then we'll need to make a couple new ones on top of that. So we are going to need an additional 24 solar cells. So we can come in here and we can look up solar cell. It should be right, where is it? Right here. It's kind of hard to see because it's completely black pretty much. But to make this, we are going to need, if we need 24 of those, that means we are going to need 72 of these. And that's going to take some nether quartz, so we can shift click a full stack. And I'm really hoping we've got enough nether quartz to do all of this, but that should be the 72 that we need right there. For all of these, we can throw those back in there, and let's verify. Oh gosh, did I interrupt it or did it finish? Oh, did it finish? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it finished. Okay, wow, that was fast. That was faster than I thought it would be. So we've got the Quibit cluster tier 5 now, but I still want to upgrade the solar panels. But what this means is we should be able to go through now and break this up here, since pretty much we don't really need anything else to function right now. So we can go and break this, and then we'll just have to be a little bit quick about it in terms of, oh gosh. What was that? I don't actually know what the... Oh, okay, we don't need to jump there. I heard an explosion somewhere. Did something... Was that just down here, or did something bad actually happen? I don't know. I thought I heard an explosion somewhere. Okay, well, let's just hope it wasn't a bad explosion anywhere. We can finish breaking off all of this, and then I'll get out my pickaxe to finish this off. And the only problem that I'm going to have with upgrading this is now that it's becoming a 9x9, it's going to take up this whole area around here, which means it's going to have to sit perfectly on the edge, and it might look a little bit weird. Not really sure just yet, but we'll be able to see in time. We can always use chisel and bits to make it look a little bit nicer. So we've got all this stuff down here. We need more modifier cores. So we need, I think, another 4 modifier cores. That's right here. So I don't know. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like we have really any environmental tech glass right now. So we need to make some of that, which is sand and nether quartz. So we can make, hopefully a stack of that should be enough. We can throw that in and let it cook down over here. Oh, that's some glowstone that I was getting. Oh gosh. Oh, okay, that's just being crushed from earlier. Okay, no problem. We can throw the enriched sand in there and grab that out, and we can allow that to cook down real quick and just throw these in here. And it looks like that's getting automatically sucked back into the system. Very nice. And we should be able to craft this very, very soon. And then this will kind of roll over. I think other stuff that we need, or other stuff we're making, needs this clear glass. Probably should have made a lot of that before today's episode. Let's see how much we're rocking on nether quartz. Still have a fair bit of it. Okay, so let's go at environmental tech and let us finish with the crafting. So the solar cells need it too. We can do the modifier cores first. So there we go. We need 4 of these. And there we are. So we've got a total of 8 for those. And now we need to upgrade the solar panel controller tier 2 up to tier 3. And then is this clear glass still going? I want to see that. Yeah, so it looks like we actually might need a little bit more. Yeah, we're going to definitely need more than that because that's only going to be able to cover maybe 13 of those. So we need clear glass, and we can get this recipe right here, get this one again, and make that. Now hopefully that will be enough right there. We're going to be running very, very low on nether quartz after that. We could always take this nether quartz and just fortunate or something if we need a very small amount at the end. But other than that, we're running pretty darn low. Okay, so let's finish up with this crafting here that needs to get done. We need to upgrade this to tier 3. Where is it? Solar panel controller tier 3. So this is where the mica comes in. And then we need these stabilized ender pearls, which are 4 ender pearls around a block of iron. And what was it? We needed 4 of those. So we need another 4 blocks of iron. I have to imagine at some point we're going to start running low on iron too, but maybe not. And we can grab out 4 of those. And then I believe we need to make... we're going to need an extra solar cell, and then we need an extra solar panel controller tier 2, which is going to require a fair bit of diamond, and then 2 tier 1s, which is going to require a fair bit of lapis and another solar cell. So we need, I believe, 8 blocks of lapis. Okay, well, we're 1 extra on that. Let's grab that out. Oh no, why did I just do that? I shift clicked instead of left clicking. Okay, well that's a little bit unfortunate right there. I might go through and craft all this just so we don't have to watch it on camera. This is going to be a lot of crafting to do. I'll hop back right before we finish it up on camera. We can install this. We can start working with a little bit of the wireless RF. And then I think we'll call things a day. Okay guys, so I am back yet again after another very, very fun crafting session. I just finished up. I've got the 32 structure blocks tier 3. Still going with the alabaster just because that's pretty much the only option in terms of a block that's going to at least semi-blend in with the base, since it's sandstone. The 49 solar cells, the tier 3 controller, 8 modifier cores, nothing different, they're just plain ones because there really isn't anything great to add in terms of modifiers for this. And then we've got the assembler, which will just allow us to easily put this all together, along with the Quibit cluster tier 5. Now, we need to put this together very soon because I'm pretty sure we're going to run out of power here. There should be no power coming in over here. Oh wow, so it actually didn't take that long. I guess I kind of overestimated the amount of power that our setup would use, but I'm still going to sleep right now just so that we don't run into any issues, and we can start setting this up. Pay no attention to the large hole in the wall, trying to figure out what I want to do over here, but not really sure just yet. If you guys have any suggestions, I kind of want to do like an open balcony that looks out over the water, just because I like having things open, whether it's a window or, you know, just a straight up opening outside. So if you have any suggestions as to what to do here, feel free to let me know. If not, I'll figure it out. So we need to break all of this, and even the sandstone slabs that go around the outside. because eventually it is going to be filling those in. I don't really know what we're going to do when we upgrade this one more tier, because then it'll be an 11 by 11. As it stands right now, we need to go 9 in. So right here, this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so right there, it is going to cover up a fair bit of this little area out here, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So we need to go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the central block is going to be right. Yeah, I guess it'll still be right here, like it was before. So we can grab the controller, and that is going to go right here. And we should be able to build everything around this. I might end up going downstairs to do this, just because it's probably going to push us away. Yep, okay, so I'm going to go downstairs, and I'm going to break the capacitor bank, and then I'm going to start building it from the bottom up, just because we're either going to suffocate in there, or it's going to kick us out. And we'll get the chat message once it finishes building. Huh. Okay, there we go. So the assembly is complete. If we throw this back on there, you can see we are now gaining an absurd amount of RF per tick just from this one setup. So very, very worthwhile upgrade to make. It did require a lot of resources, and I don't think I will ever upgrade it to tier 4. Oh my gosh, okay. I probably should have put it in the ground one so it doesn't stick out as much, but I guess now we just have to throw down this sandstone there, right? Probably. We can fly, so we can do this. This will look a little bit weird because it doesn't match perfectly, but I'll eventually work this out with the trim and everything with chisel and bits. But for now, we can just do this. I can't even deal with half of it over here because it's covered by sand. But we can throw this down here, and I guess it looks good enough for the time being. Very large solar panel right there, or solar array, I guess it would be, getting us a lot of power. And now we can finally break all of this and hook up the new power system. So let's take the Quibit cluster and put it directly below this. Now I think it looks very, very cool. You know, it doesn't have any special 3D effects to it like, you know, certain other machines have. Doesn't look, it's just, you know, it's just a flat texture, but if we click on it, we should be able to eventually get power going in here. It looks like it doesn't directly input from that. It's got 0 RF in reserve. Let me see if we need to pump it in with a conduit. Let's grab a conduit out of here. Oh my gosh, now that can't function because it has no power. Huh. I thought this would be able to directly receive power from that, but I guess... Wait, where did it go? Oh my gosh, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Where did that go? Oh, okay, it went up here. Oh, okay, that was almost very bad. Do we have any energy conduits in here? We do. These are very low tier energy conduits, but I want to see if they are able to transport the power from this into the Quibit cluster, since it doesn't. Okay, so it looks like it is able to transfer it there. This should be getting power now, so we can get out our other energy conduits from here, which should be able to transfer more than enough power, and that should fix the issue. I assumed that this would be like able to get its own power, but I guess it's not. It needs something to pull it out and input it. But now you can see it should be starting to fill up eventually. It's slowly getting drained and have more power put in, but it's going to get a net gain eventually. Did I just... Oh, okay. Yeah, so we can see it doesn't really have any like GUI or whatever when you try and click on it. It's just going to put a message in chat, so you kind of get spammed with it. But you can see that it has 312.5 million capacity. Now, I do not plan on leaving it like this, but what I want to do is make the RF Entangler and the RF Exciter, and then I want to use that to hook this system right here up using wireless power. So, first things first, we need to make the RF Exciter, the RF Entangler, because that's what's going to allow us to get the wireless power started. And this is going to require a nether star. So that's why you probably saw earlier that I had 4 nether stars. I believe I had 1 already. I didn't realize that though, and I went and killed a couple wither. Got some nether stars, so it'll be fine to have eventually. I made a Quibit cluster level 2. We can make 2 of these. I guess we need some more ender crystal. Yes, I know this is even more crafting of the stuff that you probably don't want to see because it's really boring. But do not worry, we will be done with it very, very soon. Make a couple more of those. And now we are down to the advanced circuit cards. Now these require some more ender crystals, paper, gold nuggets, redstone. I am going to make a couple gold nuggets for this recipe. And we will also make, oh gosh, I'm losing the recipe. We will make a couple more ender crystals. But the main thing we need is this hyper diamond. Now this is created by putting graphite dust into an explosion. And if we look, we should have a little bit of graphite dust here. I don't even know where I got this from, but we've got 4 graphite dust. I assume we used the industrial grade graphite ore to get it. But so we can take this. This will be more than enough. And we can come over here. Now the fun trick is that these, you can hear the explosions. I do have particle effects turned off, but you can see we're still getting kicked out. But technically nothing's exploding here. We don't get hurt. Nothing gets blown up. So if we throw these in, it'll still get turned into a hyper diamond. So this is a nice little room to use with quantum, so we can do this to get hyper diamonds from without having to worry about any other issues. So I am going to throw both of these down. It gets kicked right out to us, and boom. That was a fun thing that I tested off camera just so I wouldn't look stupid. But it does work. I went into a creative world and tried it. But we now have the hyper diamond. Oh gosh, and these have different power amounts, so they're all going to be different. That's phenomenal. But now we've got the hyper diamonds. We should be able to put those in there, and we can at last go back to quantum. I'm about to get hit in the back, I think. But we can go to the RF Entangler, go to the advanced circuits. We should be able to craft 2 of these, and there we go, the RF Entangler. So this, where is that thing? Is that, it's up here. Okay, buddy, let's go. I hate that these spawn here. I really need to put them into my mob system just to get rid of them. But what we can do is eventually put this down adjacent to the, oh gosh, okay, it gets a little bit buggy where you can't click on this because it tries to allow you to access or show you the power that's in reserve right now. So what we can do is, I kind of want to make this in the center, but I guess this will end up going right here either way. Now this should be pulling power from this if we wanted to use it wirelessly. It just kind of attaches to it like that, and we should be able to come over here and make the RF exciter, which again is very simple to make. We are going to need to make some qubit crystals. I think we, yeah, so we need 1 more qubit crystal. There we go, and we are 1 short on the gold casing. Okay, so there we go. We've got 2 RF exciters, and what we can do now to see if it actually works, and I guess I'll hook up my whole system off camera, but I just want to see that it works. So we'll grab out a vibrant capacitor bank that is currently at 0, and we can throw it down right here, put down an RF exciter on it, and it should be getting RF. So it should be getting 100 RF per tick. And if we really wanted to, we could come over here and we could go to an exciter upgrade. So these get made 2 at a time. It requires qubit crystals, so we can make 2 of those. It requires some dark stone, very easy to make, and we can make 6 of these. So this should put it up to 700 RF per tick. All you do is shift right click on it. Now it says 700 maximum transfer, and now this is getting 700 RF per tick. So all we would do is put this on all the different machines that we have. I think you can actually hook it up to conduits and then hook those up to machines. Not exactly sure. I thought you could do that. I don't know if you still can. But I want to hook it up directly to every machine. So eventually we will come back here, put it on the backs of pretty much any machine we can, and then we should be able to put it right on the back of this system here and get rid of a lot of different energy conduits that are running all over the place and just kind of cluttering things up. Right here we could get rid of conduits. We could get rid of conduits pretty much everywhere in the base, which will be really nice, and it won't require us to have dimensional transceivers all over the place. So I am going to break this right now. It doesn't really serve a purpose, but you can see you get all of the exciter upgrades back when you break it. So it's actually a very cool mod. I like it a lot, and I'll do a lot of work with it off camera just to get everything kind of tied together with that before next episode, where we will finally be putting all of this power generation to good use. I know it's probably been a little bit boring, you know, watching all these episodes where it's like, okay, today we're going to get more power, and today we're going to get power in a different way than the last time we got power. All that kind of boring stuff. Oh gosh, okay. There's a lot of these big boys around here. But that's going to be it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. And I will talk to you guys later.